Greetings, YouTubians, and welcome back to Wayne Sharp World, where today we're taking a look at another brand new one. This one is the Real Steel G5 Metamorph TANTO. Now, before I go any further in this review, I'd like to thank you guys for tuning in today. If you like what you see, please do me a huge favor, hit that subscribe button, follow along, and I will continue to bring you the content. Now, let's take a look at some overall specs on this knife right here. We have an overall length of 8 inches with a blade length coming in at 3.5 inches, a cutting edge of 3.75-ish inches when you take in the extra length of the Tanto edge. We have a blade width of 0.68 inches with a blade thickness coming in at 0.12 inches. We have a blade material of 14C28N with a very nice Tanto style blade, a flat grind that feels pretty hollow to me, and a handle length of 4.6 inches. We have a handle thickness coming in at 0.45 inches with a handle width coming in at 0.81 inches. This handle material is G10. It is a liner lock knife, and you have a right hand only tip up carry. Weight coming in at 3.26 ounces. A very, very nice, reasonable price of $39.99. And it is also very important to know that this knife right here is a Blade HQ exclusive. So if this tickles your fancy, you have only one option. Hop over to Blade HQ and pick one up. Now, let's take a look at some size comparisons. Now, this is pretty much the regular G5 Metamorph that I think a lot of people know and like, with a Tanto blade and obviously a regular flipper instead of a front flipper. So the two that come to mind most for me when it comes to comparisons is the Kaiser Genie as well as the Benchmade 940. As you can see, very similar in a lot of aspects of this knife, particularly the handle. You kind of have that little swell, not necessarily a big swell, but a little more thickness towards the middle of the handle like you do with both of these, a little more so the 940. But these are by far the two best comparisons I have for this knife, and I tell you what, I like both these knives a whole lot. And well, I'll let you know what I think about this one as we go through the review. And I have two more comparisons that I think are probably worth noting just because of the size of the handles and whatnot. We have the Civivi Exarch, and I'm going to go there and whip out the Microtech Ultratech. Just because, you know, they're both longer, slimmer knives, so why not? So there you go. I think that should give everyone a pretty good idea what we got here. And now let's talk about this knife, because me personally, I'm sure you guys probably know this, I love front flippers, so I really liked the G5 Metamorph. The original one with just the drop point front flipper, didn't have a flipper tab. That one had some drawbacks though that this one does not have. But first, let's talk about the blade. We have a very attractive Tanto that, for me personally, is walking a fine line of possibly being a gentleman's knife, a gentleman's carry. I know Tanto isn't the first thing that screams gentleman, but it's so slim. It has nice lines. I don't know. I'm still thinking about it. What do you guys think? Does this look like a gentleman's carry to you? It doesn't have the, you know, the most slender, elegant lines, but it is still slim, and it's, I don't know. I'm still torn about it. I think right now I'm kind of leaning towards it being a gentleman's carry of some sort. Just a very nice, sleek profile and a pretty decent edge of 20 thousandths behind the edge. So it's pretty darn good. I mean, it's not, you're not talking Civivi range or the thinnest thing in the world, but we'll definitely get the job done and do a pretty darn good job of it. And another thing that I'm noticing is I am almost certain this absolutely has to be a hollow grind. Does not feel flat to me. Let's see if I can get an angle up there. It's hard to do. There you go. That might do it. Yeah, I'm going to call this a hollow grind. I definitely think this is a hollow grind, but you do have a flat grind up here. This is definitely a flat grind, so it is a Tanto done the correct way. I am a huge fan of Tantos with a hollow grind along the flat long straight, and then a hollow grind, yeah, hollow grind along the flat top edge. Geez, there's too many straights, and then a flat grind up along the tip. So definitely a fan of this blade right here and how it's executed. And also a flipper tab. A flipper tab that I thought would be kind of a nuisance, that I did not think would be comfortable when you look at it, the way it just kind of pokes out like that. But I gotta say, I like this flipper tab a lot more than I thought I would. We will talk more about that when we get to the action, but pretty well done job there. And of course, it's got the 14C 28N steel, which I'm always going to like. That's a fantastic budget steel that boasts some pretty good edge retention as well as corrosion resistance. So a very nice steel indeed. And you also have some pretty nice jimping along the spine. Not the tackiest and grippiest jimping, but it would probably, yeah, it definitely does its job. I would prefer it to have a little more bite, but I can't complain too much because it is still functional in my opinion. And moving into the handle and ergos. Now, for a handle that has as neutral of a grip as this does, the ergos are actually really good. There's just enough little thickness down here to where I really feel it well in my palm, and I have a very secure grip, a very full grip, and I like that a whole lot. You also have a very comfortable pocket clip that is absolutely zero hot spot whatsoever, and it has a nice ramp along that will meet, I think, the requirements of most hems. Even if you got the thicker hems, it should go over them pretty well. The only thing that I don't like about this clip is I really wish it had recessed screws. You still have enough room to get it all the way in your pocket. By far, you definitely do. But if you have the thicker hems, it could get caught up on those hems. The screws are rounded off, so it may not be a problem. I don't have real super thick hems, but I definitely can't promise you that it may not give you little fits getting into the pocket if you have thicker hems. But regardless, you still have enough room to get the knife all the way into your pocket. Another thing I really like that they did on the other version was you have that nice hidden lanyard hole. I don't use lanyards ever. I always kind of, for some reason, think the idea is nice, but I never use a lanyard. The only knives I have that have a lanyard on it are my Chris Reeve knives, and that's because they come with one. So I don't really care about it, but I always like when it's an option for the people that do like it, but you don't see it. It's hidden, and I always like that. To me, that is the best way to go for a lanyard hole. And most importantly with these handles, and if anyone out there has owned the aluminum version of the original G5 Metamorph, you will know that those aluminum handles, while they look nice, they were slick as all get out of here. They did not provide a good purchase. They were slippery. It's the biggest reason why I don't have the one I had. I sold it because I didn't like the lack of grip I had. But this is excellent. This is really, especially for EDC style use, this is the perfect amount of texturing on G10, which is a very nice, durable, tough material. And you have a great grip. You also have a little jimping up here on the liner lock, which I also think is done really, really well. Very easy to access, good lockup. No real issue there. Very good job done on the liner lock. I don't know why, for some reason, I want to say well done job, and it kind of makes sense, but it doesn't feel right when I'm saying it. Regardless, let's move on. No, very good texturing on here. This is the kind of texturing that I wish some Spydercos would have. It's like a sanded down cold steel texturing, I guess is the best way to put it, because it has a real good grip, but it also isn't going to tear your jeans up. So very good job done on the texturing here. And now moving into the action, and this is a joy. First, let's talk about this flipper tab now, because you have a perfect amount of jimping there that does work. It does bite your finger. And what I've found the best way to deploy this blade is not by just pushing it in or by light switching it. It's kind of a combination. If you just set your finger right here and kind of push and pull down a little, it flies out. And it has a really, really good feel to the action. Reminds me of a slightly smoother honey badger. Now, you guys, if you know, you know. I recently just experienced a honey badger for the first time, and I was completely blown away by the action. This is every bit as good, if not better, because there's a significant amount of weight up towards the top of this blade. It's a slightly thicker stock at 0.12 inches, which is kind of the norm, but the length of the blade and the way the weight's dispersed all the way towards the beginning of the pivot up to the tip of the blade, you just have a lot of weight there, and it makes for some fantastic action. The blade flies out, makes that good kind of shooting out sound. It's a really nice sound, and then when you go to close it, the weight just kind of takes over, and it absolutely drop shutty, very, very smooth, really just a joy to fidget with. It really is. I was not expecting the action to be this good. I kind of thought it would be similar to the original G5 Metamorph. I could not have been more wrong. I enjoy this action and prefer this action much more over the original. The only thing you really want to be careful with when you're working with this, or deploying the blade, is you don't want to push directly in. You can, and it'll work, but you'll start to feel that. I mean, that was my biggest concern with the flipper tab, was how it would poke your finger, but it doesn't. You want to just come up on top of it. You come up on top, kind of do that little pull / push at the same time, and it works fantastically. You might, let me see, I might drop it here. Maybe, you can kind of do the lighter deployment, but that don't feel very good, but you can do it. But no, just really, really, really solid, great offering. This was a really, really good exclusive that Blade HQ's done. And I wasn't expecting this. This one kind of surprised me. And when I first saw it, I had, for $40, I had to pick one up and check it out because I just really like everything about it. Very thoroughly impressed. I never thought I'd say it, but I definitely like this more than the front flipper version. Absolutely more than the front flipper version. Just a very smooth action, a nice edge, and an attractive design made even better with this Tanto blade. So really, really solid collaboration, or solid exclusive by Blade HQ altogether. They really knocked this one out of the park with Real Steel. Real Steel is still one of the more underrated companies out there. I mean, they're not spitting out stuff like Riot or anything like that, but what they offer are very good knives at very reasonable prices, and they're doing a lot of exciting stuff too with changing up handle materials and using fat carbon on some stuff. Obviously not the case with this one, but take a harder look at Real Steel. They're doing some pretty good things, and this is a really good example of one of them. I would highly recommend this knife to anyone who likes the aesthetics, that likes Tantos, that likes longer, slender knives. This is a really, really good offering. Yeah, I'm not letting this one go for a while. This one's really fun to carry and fidget around with. So look at that. Shuts right closed so easily. What do you guys think? Let me know what you think of this. Is this a gentleman's knife? Would you consider this a gentleman's knife? If not, regardless, whatever it is, it's a pretty damn good knife. One of the best knives I think I've ever handled under $40. I do have to say it right now. I'll let you guys know in a long-term review if that still holds true, but I am very, very, very impressed with this knife. Like it a whole lot, and I think you guys would too. So if it's something that interests you, hop over to Blade HQ, pick one up. They're both in stock. There's actually, I say both because there's this version, then there's a completely blacked out version with a black blade. So there you go. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Let me know what you think. Hope you have a great rest of your day, and until the next one, I'm out.